Well, talking about the MLB today, starting things off with some sad news, as at one time the home run king Hank Aaron has passed away this morning at the age of 86. Joining me today is Eric Bay to break all this down. Eric, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, again, obviously a very tough day. You look at what Hank Aaron really did in his career, and I mean, you can read all the stats; they're all right there. I mean, he made 21 straight All-Star games, as you said, was the home run king for over 30 years, but just really a tough loss for baseball overall.
Currently sits second in all time behind Barry Bonds, but a lot of people consider him the best hitter of all time, as he also sits first in all time RBIs. Eric, I guess just first of all, how big of a loss is this for the baseball community?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously huge. Again, as I mentioned, he was not just, this larger than life all-star figure. He was also a big proponent of the game off the field. He was always around all these events, and really kind of him and Jackie Robinson really teamed up together to try and work through baseball and some of the challenges that obviously baseball and the world at large faced in terms of acceptance and inclusion. But again, as you mentioned, just what he did put into this game too, it's definitely going to be missed. I think the big thing is too, we've lost so many MLB Hall of Famers here in 2020 and also more recently with Don Sutton. So just together, it's really tough to kind of stomach.
Yes, this will be a tough one for the baseball world and the world as a whole to swallow. It is unfortunate for us being a younger generation. We weren't able to see him actually in action, but from seeing highlights and hearing the different stories and whatnot, I think we can picture just how good Hank Aaron really was. Now, Eric, transitioning now into some players who are currently in the MLB. Some big news coming out of Canada. The Toronto Blue Jays have signed one of the biggest free agents from this offseason in George Springer. 6 years, $150 million, making it the biggest contract the Toronto Blue Jays have ever signed. I guess, Eric, just how big is this for the Blue Jays organization for the next 6 years?
Oh, it's obviously huge. I mean, you look at a guy of this caliber, and you mentioned $150 million. This guy, in probably a normal year, could have made close to 200, I think. I mean, he's a leadoff guy who's going to hit you home runs, get on base, do everything you want to do. And everybody is going to point to, obviously, the Astros sign-stealing scandal. But even without that, he put up 14 home runs in a shortened season last year, good for roughly a 42 home run season if we were prorating it up to 162 games. So you look at what he's done, ability to get on base, and you pair him with a guy like Cavan Biggio on that Jays roster who also doesn't strike out, walks a lot, gets on base. And if Teoscar Hernandez can do what he did last year and Vladdy Guerrero Jr. can find some more consistency with the bat, you're going to have a lot of guys on base for those big sluggers coming up. So this is a very exciting young offensive team.
Yeah, super young team. And I think that's a huge point when it comes to the Blue Jays. You look 6 years with George Springer, plus all these young guys who are just going to consistently get better and better each year. I know this is quite a far ways in the future, but say 3, 4 years from now, Eric, the Blue Jays are looking like a contending team, no?
Yeah, I mean, if you can find some pitching and some steady pitching to go with this, then for sure, because 3, 4 years from now, I still think George Springer should be doing what he's doing right now. Maybe by the tail end of this, he kind of falls off. But like you say, a lot of those guys will be in their prime here 3 to 4 years from now. So you find some pitching to go with this. This is going to be a juggernaut here for years to come.
Now, Springer already has a World Series championship ring under his belt. But of course, as everybody knows, the Astros were caught cheating. Do you think that sort of puts a damper on it? And as he comes into this new clubhouse, how do you think other players will be looking at him?
Yeah, that's a tough one to kind of figure out. Again, obviously he's a great player with or without the cheating. The cheating was a little unnecessary. And I think for the most part, guys may have forgiven unless you are a Los Angeles Dodger. So I think he'll be welcomed with open arms again, just from what he'll do on the baseball side of things. But that is a good point and one that will be kind of tough to figure out until we actually see it in action on the field.
Dodgers and Yankees fans might not be the happiest with the Astros in general. Eric, thank you very much for taking this time and joining me.
Yeah, no problem.